Welcome to this second day of our European Humanitarian Forum. It's an honor to be surrounded by so many committed humanitarians. Today, we meet at a tough moment for our community and for the world. More nationalist, more transactional, more opportunistic, and let's be honest, less generous. I recently heard someone describe the future as dark and ominous, like a threatening storm. But when I speak to many of you yesterday, I don't hear that, and I don't feel that. I hear your ideas, and I feel your energy and determination. I see a united committee, driven by conviction, solidarity, and humanity, not deterred, no matter the challenges ahead, ready to meet this moment with action. Dear friends, I recently returned from Chad, a nation grappling with the consequences of war in neighboring Sudan that has killed tens of thousands, displaced millions, and where famine has been declared. I saw displacement and victims of gender-based violence and malnourished babies struggling for their next breath. But I also saw people hanging on, courageous, determined to make it through one more day, and aid workers arriving early and going home late, driven to feed one more child. These faces stay with me to this day. I also visited Ukraine, Syria, Bangladesh, where I met families torn apart, children whose only school is an underground shelter. Each mother, father, daughter, and son reminded me that our work is not about tackling a vast ocean of need. It is about providing one loaf of bread, one cup of water, rebuilding one school, one hospital, and doing it again and again and again for as many people as we can. And most importantly, it is about saving lives, one life at a time, and doing it again and again and again. Fragility has also skyrocketed across the world. We see it in Sudan, Syria, Myanmar, and many other countries. War, political instability, climate change, and economic shocks are making it worse. These crises are not isolated. They are interconnected and form a complex web of vulnerability that demands a comprehensive response. In the EU, we are determined to tackle this and to develop a comprehensive and integrated EU approach to fragility across the world. Humanitarian action, development cooperation, and peacebuilding are mutually reinforcing. Deploying just one of these tools alone cannot bring lasting solutions. But by addressing the root causes of conflict and vulnerability, with all our available tools in synergy, humanitarian, development, and diplomatic, we can build more resilient communities and prevent future crises. And if we do it right, we can transform fragile states into stable and prosperous allies. Take South Korea. It was once an aid recipient. Now it is an economic powerhouse, a strategic partner, and an emerging donor of humanitarian aid. This must be replicated. Ladies and gentlemen, when our values are tested, that is when we find out who we truly are and what we truly believe. The EU is and will continue to be a leading humanitarian partner. We have shown this time and again, from our rapid response to natural disasters to our sustained support for protracted crises. in a world that too often asks, what's in it for me? We are driven by a simple conviction. Every life matters. Every life must be protected. And the only way to achieve this is through cooperation and solidarity. What makes us truly strong, by the way, is not only what we have, but what we give. Our willingness to extend a hand to those less fortunate than ourselves. Dear friends, we cannot stick our heads in the sand. The humanitarian landscape is changing. The US, long period of international land assistance, has decided to cut many of its aid programs. This will lead to the suffering of millions, worsening humanitarian crisis and increasing instability. It also directly impacts our own security, increasing risks such as radicalization, terrorism, displacement, illegal migration, and human trafficking. Dear friends, the European Union is taking a different path. We are stepping up our humanitarian commitment. This year we have increased our initial humanitarian aid budget to 1.9 billion euros. And we recently agreed to a 350 million euro top-up. As Team Europe, we are becoming the world's leading humanitarian donor. Just last March, at the Nutrition for Growth Summit in Paris, Team Europe pledged 6.5 billion euros until 2029 for fight global malnutrition. But the EU and its member states alone cannot and should not fill the gap. Everyone in the international community must shoulder their responsibility, proportionate, of course, to their economic standing. We must also strengthen our humanitarian diplomacy to rally support for humanitarian principles by engaging with all stakeholders, governments, civil society, and affected communities. Humanitarian diplomacy is not about political compromise. It is about protecting the space for principled humanitarian action. That means access, that means protection, that means respect for international humanitarian law. We will not stop repeating it. Humanitarian principles are not negotiable. Ladies and gentlemen, collective action, that is the only way to tackle today's severe and widespread humanitarian crisis. The humanitarian system, overstretched and underfunded, is struggling to deliver life-saving aid in emergencies. And it faces serious questions about its financial and structural sustainability. We can do better. We can do better. We need to reform the system to make it more efficient and effective for those who count on us. That's why this European Humanitarian Forum matters. It is a space to share ideas, ask tough questions, and work together to find solutions. The multilateral system may be not perfect, but it is the only way to guarantee peace, security, and prosperity. That is why the EU is strongly committed to help reshape, improve, and strengthen it. We will remain a strong supporter of the global multilateral humanitarian system, with the UN at its core. Dear friends, I believe Europe has a special role to play at this moment of great change. We have the resources, the expertise, and the political will to help build a more efficient, a more effective humanitarian system. But we cannot do it alone. We need everyone on board, our partners here in Europe and beyond, to help create a better humanitarian blueprint for the future. I've seen, again and again, also people with gratitude for our European solidarity. In Gaziantep, Turkey, for instance, 2 years after the earthquake, people remember what the EU made for them. For all these reasons, I'm proud to work by your side for a world that believes in treating others with respect and dignity. Our mission is right, and let's never forget, we have millions of allies out there. So you can count on me, you can count on the European Union, and I count on you. Thank you very much.
We can do better, and we will be counting on you. Thank you, Madam Lahbib. I'm now delighted to give the floor to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Poland, Mr. Radosław Sikorski. Please welcome him.